Leo, my friend, good evening. Give me 1 second. I just need to figure something out. Good evening, buddies. Good evening. My son just fell asleep. I honestly wasn't even sure if I'm gonna make it, but he actually fell asleep fairly quickly. Let me just figure one thing out. How are you guys doing? How is life? I just turned those lights. Mark, good evening, buddy. So nice to see. Kind of, I like so much that you guys are coming back. It feels. I feel it's literally better having, you know, those same people. It's crazy. You know what I mean? Like just having one individual is worth 100 followers or 1,000 here in Twitch. So thank you for keep coming back, fellas. Give me just 1 second. I need to check one thing. Oh my god, Cedric is here. Good evening, buddy. I thought you no longer like me. I'm like, okay, I got all the info I needed from this asshole. I'm gone now. I can't miss the robot abuser. I don't like you, I need to talk. Exactly. All right, let's see what the hell is going on. I'm going to Stockholm tomorrow. So what is this crap? Ah, okay, I'm not running the proper stuff. Okay, sorry. So let's CDF, CDA, source. Yeah, tomorrow we're going to Stockholm. We're taking a train at noon time at 12:30. 11 of us, my team and a bunch of other people. So we're going to this crap, right? Paid vacation. Yeah, actually, I haven't even checked who the speakers are. I think there are some interesting ones for tomorrow. There's Seb. This is a huge company. Google Cloud Nordics. Danica Kragic. Okay, this yeah. Is there anyone that I actually ever saw here? Peter Silo I. Let's see what this is. Silo AI. AI driven product. Okay. Tara. Google speakers. Okay. Andreas, customer engineer. Oh, Kristen, I met her many times here. She's here in Copenhagen, but she's into sales and marketing. So Google office here in Copenhagen doesn't have any engineers. It's just their sales and crap. Hugo. Sad I'm not speaking. Yeah. Did I meet anyone else from those fellas here? Customer speakers. All right. All right. All right. I don't know anyone actually here. Jesus Christ, man. Okay. All right. Well, it's gonna be interesting. And what is this featured speakers? Okay, those fellas are featured. Sana, Spotify, VPN. Okay, this is gonna be interesting, right? This guy is a VP of Spotify, so this is gonna be a. I mean, a lot of those conferences are a lot of shit talk. Of course, it's a bunch of those people are showing up to sell their product, right? But I think this could be interesting. This could be interesting. Director of Engineering and Platform, Spotify, right? So that could be cool, I guess. We'll see. I'll hopefully, if the internet is good, on 20th, so on Wednesday, I'll kind of tune in from the conference. But you know, looking at Tech Barbecue, modern architecture, going serverless with Cloud Run. Interesting, right? This is, for example, useful. Like if you want to use GCP, you would generally use Cloud Run to run your API, for example, right? Yeah, this is okay. Event-driven architecture, Google API man. So those guys I have actually met. So APG is basically a GCP gateway, and it's incredibly expensive. But I've been recently, if you guys remember, I met some of those guys from APG. But this thing is like super expensive. They got acquired by Google, so they got acquired, I believe, last year. But yeah, this is a super nice gateway. It's just incredibly expensive. Cool. Well, we'll see, right? We'll see. Yeah, we'll see, right? We will see. Okay, let's just, before we start coding, I think Leo asked a question on Discord, so let's read it. Stream, okay, nodejs, okay. Where is it? Where did you ask? Random. Andrew, good evening. So off topic, I struggle in negotiating salary. I've been working for nearly 2 years in the same company. I started with 12 euros an hour salary after my 3 months, during which time. Mm. I see. Huh. Chica, good evening. Uh, yeah. Let me see what I can tell you about this. Visual Studio. I'm using VS Code. Yes. So I'm not using Visual Studio. I'm using Visual Studio Code. So okay. So Leo, I think you just started in a company very low, right? And when you start very low, it's very hard to go very high, especially if maybe your worth isn't right evident, right? So because keep in mind, in this industry, like in any other industry, there's a lot of bullshit, right? So there's a lot of lying, there's a lot of self perception and how well you're able to sell yourself, right? So it isn't that any of us is fully worth or not worth. It's you just build up your whole self. It's like a product, right? Like people buy iPhone for 1,000 euros or something. It's just imaginary value. It's that phone is as valuable as a 100 euros phone, right? Pretty much for 99% people, right? So but there's imaginary value around it. So when you start as an intern or whatever in those shitty companies, like unfortunately your company is, you just kind of, for some of those managers, you remain that guy, a volunteer, right? Or an intern or whatever. So when your worth, once you are truly confident in your worth, you'll have to change your company, right? So while you're there, just acknowledge that and look for yourself, right? I don't think you can do much there, right? Because it's very hard to negotiate when you have nothing else, right? If you have another offer right now, then it's easy to negotiate, but you don't have it, so you can't negotiate, right? Good evening, Pixel Root. So that's the thing. So if you want to negotiate, well, start interviewing, get a better offer, and then negotiate, right? Now you can't negotiate because you don't have a better one, right? I'm not saying you. This applies to all of us. If I wanted to, it doesn't apply to me in this company because I don't have to negotiate, right? Because it's a different situation. But if I had to, well, then you have to find something and then say, well, I have this offer. Are you guys willing to give me more? And then you would actually know if you're worth more, right? You know what that reminds me of? I think there's a great metaphor for that. There's some of those shitty products that when you go and try to cancel the subscription, then they give you like, please don't leave, we'll give you 3 months, for 3 months 50% off, right? And then you can say, well, why the fuck didn't you give me 50% upfront before? Why do I have to leave so you give me 50% off, right? If you get what I mean. So sometimes it's unfortunately the same with negotiation and stuff. You sometimes have to literally almost quit to get what you want, right? Because that's the game, right? So it's kind of, it's really how it is, right? It's really how it is. Okay. Um, yeah, so let's start coding today, and then we'll see how the stream goes, how many people join, how many questions we have. I've actually noticed today several people signed up just because I posted on LinkedIn, which is kind of funny. I should post more on LinkedIn. Whenever I post something, people get mind blown. I posted on this guy's post, and I have uh, the thing is, I mean, again, don't always think long term, not short term, right? Develop your skills, join those streams, see what I'm doing, see what other people are doing, build things, and very quickly you're gonna be way ahead than you think, right? So there's no time to grieve or feel bad or good. The most fundamental thing in life is to understand the game that's current. There's always some game, right? And you have to be part of that game. So I always say to my wife and my mom and a lot of people in my family, like, dude, like, enough of, oh my God, how is this like this? How is that like that? It's like, dude, life is as it is, and rules are as they are. Like, if you can't change them, you can just either go with that and play the game, or just die in denial, right? So understand the game, understand that you have to sell yourself, understand the bullshit, right? And I wouldn't bullshit it. I wouldn't bullshit it, right? I would genuinely, again, like the thing is, right? We all have self perception, right? Leo thinks that he is worth more than he is getting paid. And now the fundamental question is he worth more than he's getting paid? Probably he is. And then he has to give that a shot and see if he's able to get more on a different place, right? Because everything's relative, right? He's probably worth more, but the best way to be sure of that is to actually get yourself at the point where you prove to yourself that you are, right? Um, well, I wouldn't, absolutely not, right? I wouldn't share that, right? I wouldn't go and say I have another offer, right? I would just say, I would go into a talk and say literally that. Look, guy, I mean, look, just to be clear, nobody likes to negotiate salary. I haven't met a person, myself included, in my life who is like, oh my God, I can't wait talk about money. Nobody likes the money talks, right? And good companies, I can say that my company as well, where I work right now, is good in that sense. People do come to you and offer you, hey, we think you did well. We want to raise your salary by X amount, right? But in most places, that's not the case. And I wouldn't go and say, hey, I have an offer. I would just say, look, I've been here for X. I feel that because of this and that, I'm, doing enough. And, I want this much of salary increase. And you would be just chill about it. If they say no, right? So absolutely, you don't want to lay down the cards that you have, right? You just want to use that as a confidence that, okay, then the outcome of that talk is going to determine, do you stay or do you leave, right? um But keep in mind, I mean, this is also a thing that you have to build around yourself, right? Let me put it this way. Let me take a stupid metaphor. If you're young or old, doesn't matter, and dating a girl or a man, right? And you accumulate problems over time, and then 2 years later you say to your girl or your guy, you say, oh my god, 3 months ago you did this, 2 years ago you did this, right? And clearly you can see that that just doesn't work. You have to solve problems as they come. So it's the same with salary, right? If you don't regularly build an image around yourself that you're capable of talking about those things, then you're gonna create a very low expectations around yourself, right? And then nobody else is going to do that. So it's kind of, and it's all very typical when you're young and when you don't have the confidence, right? But it's very hard to be somewhere for 2-3 years, never mention this, and now actually go ahead and mention it, right? It's very difficult. So this is something, no matter who you are, you have to somehow, when you have one-on-ones and stuff, you have to get comfortable talking about, right? You have to say, hey, well, how am I doing? Like what would I need to get a raise? Am I doing, et cetera, like all sorts of things, right? So it can be hard, right, if you don't set this up properly over time. And I somehow doubt that Leo has done that he actually ever spoke about, right, those types of things, right? So yeah, so that's kind of how it is, right? And yeah, it's tough, right? It's not comfortable. Nobody likes to discuss money, right? Nobody likes to do that. I don't like doing it, and it's very unnatural, right? I mean, I can tell you all, right? Like for instance, in a Dream Data where I work, I have a lot of shares. I'm a shareholder in the company, so my ambitions are different. I'm gonna probably stay in this company for at least 3-4 years more, right? And I've came in my career to the point where I actually don't really like changing workspaces anymore because it gets very tiring, right? But I can tell you that you have to interview, right? Like if you're a junior, right, or whatever, or mid-level, just interview, right? I think you should interview to practice that, right? You should interview. You should regularly interview, right? At least have 1 or 2 interviews every month, even if you're not looking for a job, right? Just see how you are relative to the market, see your worth in reality, right? Because if you're not interviewing, if you're not seeing what's out there, then you don't know, right? Because Leo said, I think that I deserve more, right? And I trust you because I know you so far. You've been in part of the stream for a long time now, right? But it's very relative, right? What is worth and what is not, right? So I don't know, right? Yeah, I mean, look, if you have one-on-ones, right, you should truly use them to your advantage in every way. First of all, one-on-one concept of feedback is really the only way you can ever progress in your career, right? That's why my goal here as a mentor on this stream is I always try to be direct and useful to people. I don't want to bullshit you, right? I want to say the things how they are. Sometimes things are harsh, and if you're truly good and if you truly crave to become better, you're gonna always use that to become better, right? Like I told you before, I had very tough one-on-ones in my career. I would go home, I would feel like crap, I would not feel good, right? But I knew that my manager wanted the best for me, right? And always try to do that, right? Never take it personally, right? Like ask for feedback, but also use words carefully. Be clever, right? You know. So ask the questions about the salary, whatever, maybe indirectly, but say, hey guys, I wanted to know, like I would like to get some raise and stuff, am I there already? Is there something that I have to do, right? Etc. You have to, being being articulated in an intelligent way is the power. It's a super powerful thing, right? Being able to write in a very articulated way and talk, that is the biggest power, right? Always take interviews, right? I mean, at this stage in career, always go and talk to companies, right? You have to understand, right, that you don't have to. You also have to be clever when it comes to interviews. You can just say, "Hey, look, guys, I'm not really looking into something right now, but I would still like to talk to you and see what you guys are doing, and if we are a great match and stuff like that, right?" So always shift it into more informal way, right? It doesn't have to be formal. Just say, "Look, I'm not really looking, but I would like to hear what you guys are doing, what your product is, how your team works, blah blah blah," right? So it's all a game, right? You just have to play it, right? Job is a job, man. Job is like it's not that relevant. I agree, right? Uh, there are no previous events. Yeah, we'll see. So I agree, absolutely. Don't yeah, don't 100%. Don't take it ever personally, right? A job is a thing that comes and goes. As I said before, the only thing really in life that's going to be there is your family, right? Your very close family. Other than that, everything comes and goes. Not some stupid philosophy, it's just objective fact, right? As I drew, as I drew maybe once or twice before in my stream, right? This is you, this is you, this is your family, right? Actually, imagine life to be just a bunch of those dots, right? Oh, I mean, this I just want to be super short, but I think it's a very interesting visualization of life. This is life, right? And all of those dots are events in your life. Some of those are jobs, girls, guys, whatever. But truly, the thing that always is there is you and your family, right? So this dot here is the only really thing that no matter what is almost always going to accept you, right? No matter what, some families can be shitty, I get that. But really, at the end of the day, this is the line in your life that matters. This crap over here is this stuff to the right is also important. Don't take me wrong. I'm not saying it's not important. I'm just saying people that truly and only ever care about you is this here. This guy at company X, Y, Z, whatever. It's not that they don't care about you, but it's contact. It's an agreement. When you join a company, you join an agreement of some kind, right? So I mean, that's why people, I think, fail to understand what work is. People create full expectations from their job. Your job is exactly what it has to be. It's a mutual agreement that you decided to work for X amount of money for someone that needs your expertise, right? And that's really what it is. I don't understand why people get disappointed. uh, you get what I mean? People create twisted expectations from work because work becomes their obsession. Your work is not your family, right? It's never gonna be, and this is just logic, right? And this is the problem. So that's why if you keep this thing your family, which it is, and this something that comes and goes, you're always going to be happy. But if you start thinking that this thing here is your family, it's not. This thing here is your work. And you can make friends as you go, and girlfriends and best friends in life, but eventually you're going to move here. And then from there, you're going to move here, right? And eventually you're not going to move anywhere else. You're going to be old and you're going to be in pension, right? But this crap here is something you always go back to, right? So I know philosophy maybe, but don't forget that. I mean, a lot of people today, they forget that, and that makes them miserable, right? It's like, how did they let me go? Or I left the company and nobody cared. It's like, man, it's you, it's not the company. You have, wrong, twisted expectations of something that's mutually agreed on, and that's it, right? I get that, Leo. Don't take me wrong. I feel you, man. I feel you. Look, I know that some people had bad experiences with their families. Don't take me wrong. We all had that in one way or the other. But I'm always speaking generally. Unfortunately, yeah, family sometimes can be a burden. It can be a, you know, one of the viewers gave me this, and also Leo, keep in mind, you don't have to make the same mistakes, let's say, as your dad, right? This is always try to shift those experiences in a good way, right? Now you know maybe what not to do in life, because we all learned that part from our parents. I did as well, right? So think of it in a positive way, right? You know what not to do, right? So you can always learn from everything. It's just a matter of your perception. You can be hurt by it, or you can say, well, you know, that's how it is, but I'm not gonna make the same mistake, right? But also always try to, I know it's hard, but always try to observe things from many perspectives, right? A lot of people made mistakes, and sometimes, no matter how those mistakes are, right? Sometimes even those can be, in a way, justified, right? Because you never know, right? A lot of people are. Anyway, fuck it, ignore me. That's what it is. That's what it is. That's what it is, man. Actually, I don't like this, but I feel you, dude. There's nearly no person I know that didn't have some sort of issues of that kind with their family, right? Flex call gap 2. Yeah, actually, this is better, I think. Shut the fuck up. You cannot be I mean, it sounds kind of silly, right? But you can't truly flourish as a person professionally without sorting out those things, right? So while they seem irrelevant in a way, which I agree with you, they maybe are, you can't really be best self without sorting those things, right? And that is the fundamental mistake. That's why people start sniffing coke and stupid stuff like that, right? Because instead of resolving some of those very difficult and annoying things that kind of kill your best inner self, they just avoid it, right? So I think it's not irrelevant from the even programming perspective, right? Because you cannot do a creative job if you're bothered by things, right? You cannot make a song or whatever. You get what I mean, right? Upcoming events. Okay, actually, I don't like this fucking thing at all. But or maybe we could. Give me 1 second here. Yeah, maybe we could do like. Give me 1 second. Yeah, maybe no, maybe 3. Interesting. What the fuck happened there, man? It's true. It's true. I mean, it is true. I agree. For the most part, they are exactly. Van Gogh. Well, no, not really. No, I mean statistically, no. No, I mean, yeah, but I don't think it's statistically true, right? Some of them were, right? Yeah, I mean, I don't know, right? That's pretty depressing, actually. It's like the only way to succeed is to be completely depressed. So stupid. All right, so okay, let's keep on cracking this. So I mean that's the thing, man, right? Like I feel like yeah, I mean yeah, it's clearly that I want to program, right? But when somebody who watches me, you know, for some time needs an advice, right? I mean, I care more about Leo than I care about 300 new followers, right? Because this is how you build connections, right? I mean, this kid has been watching me for half a year now, right? So his presence here is absolutely worth my time, right? So it's building human connection, right? It's way easier to follow somebody if you connect with that person in a more meaningful way rather than just JavaScripts and Rusts and shit like that, right? So in a way, I think I would do that to all people who are sticking around, right? It's uh, it's just humane thing to do, right? I think at the end of the day, that's just how I think. But I agree, it has to be balanced for sure, for sure. Definitely. I hear you for sure. I hear your feedback. Upcoming events. Okay, so we're gonna keep that. For some reason, I just don't like this. Is it because this events is uppercase? I know it's kind of irrelevant, but it's just there's something with my brain when I see certain details. I just can't let go. Yeah, it's so freaking strange, man. Like leading tight. Why? Why do I have this? Okay. Text Excel. Uh, or was it font bold? Yeah, I think it's font bold. No, okay, I don't like it. Let's move on. I can see that it's triggering me big time. Okay, cover image for a meetup. Remove member from a meetup. Remove member from an event. Cover image for a meetup. Use tip tab for meetup. Blah blah blah. Right. Okay, give me 1 second. So we go here. We're gonna have some landing page. We're gonna have some meetups. Let me just for a second there, right? I just wanna, because now this is kind of why it's important that we. Supersonic sounds. Oh my god, dude. You're such a little bitch, and I love it. I can hear his supersonic sound. It's like he's having a fucking F-16 flying around his window. I agree, man. I mean, I mean, even Batman doesn't like bats. Let's face it. Meetup events. Oh, Alex, I can't focus on my 400 euros chair watching you code while there's a bat outside of my window. Oh, Alex, what should I do? Ah, this fucking life. It's so tough. I have to sit here and watch this guy code. You know, there's a bat outside of my window. It's so hard. This life is so hard, man. There's this bat outside my window. I love you, man. Uh, I've been sitting here. I've been sitting here in my chair waiting for this other guy to write code. And what happens? What do I have to go through? You know, this fucking bat is flying around my ass. And dude, like, where the hell is this, man? Jesus Christ. What? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. What the hell is happening? Calendar. It's just a architect basically is just a self perception of some people. They're like they're like gods of programming, right? You have to understand, right, that 99% of things you read on LinkedIn is self perception. A lot of those people basically describe themselves as they. A lot of them are just. I mean, the thing is, right, let me tell you one thing, right? It's super easy today to be some sort of influencer, right? A lot of those people actually don't build anything. They just copy paste crap from other articles and share other people opinions, right? So in simple words, right, a lot of that stuff is just you know just ridiculous, right? Man, am I losing my mind right now? What the fuck am I doing? Jesus fucking Christ, man. Kidding me? Thank you very much, guys, for your follows and stuff. I'm very sorry for not acknowledging it more. It's often hard focusing on chat and that. No, just a lousy attempt. That's okay. JavaScript Copenhagen, I guess. Is there like location here and stuff like that? Yeah, exactly. I was almost focused for a second, right? It's hard to be focused with you assholes here, right? It's impossible. But that's what it is. All right. I don't know what those points still are for, man. I swear to God, like, I can see that you guys have shit tons of those points. I have no idea what they're for. To be very frank with you, like, yeah, apparently, I could have some icons and stuff, and then if you're 2 years old, apparently it can be useful to you as well. Pretty cool. Yeah, it's like completely worth subscribing for as well, you know. You want to see me in bikini and stuff, right? So the question is, so wait, as far as I understood, so you're asking how did I implement login in with those services? Is that what you're asking? We can do that. Fuck, I need to record a video on that. I explained that so many times. Yeah, give me like 5 minutes. I'm happy to do it. Uh, okay, just give me a second, please. I'm just gonna do test another meetup location Denmark. So we'll need to kind of also. I mean, I am recording. I am recording basically every session, right? Already. Uh, okay, we'll fix that in a moment. But before we do that, I just want to do one thing. So we're gonna have location. Obviously, we're gonna need shit. What would be the location, right? Yeah, that kind of sucks, right? So the city, town, country, city. That's kind of useless. Let's actually go right there. How is the meetup doing from which we're getting actually inspired? So they have the address and a map, right? But shit, we can't do this, right? Can we like use this thing? Like, is this actually a location service that we can search through? OpenStreetMap. Thank everybody for your follows. Very much appreciate it. OpenStreetMap. Do they have like wait? Where can I like? Yeah, so here it is, right? But it's like, can we search for an address or something? Do they have the database of that somewhere, right? That's the question, right? Who gives a shit about this? Oh man, okay, we'll need to think a little bit about this. It annoys the crap out of me because we're gonna support virtual events. So basically events you can host, let's say on Google Hangouts, or physical events. Now when it's a physical event, which I will be kind of organizing Copenhagen JavaScript physically, when I organize the event, well, for the meetup we don't actually need the address, but for the event itself we'll need a map, right? I guess. And I don't want to use Google Maps, which is obviously the easiest, but it's also not free after some use. And then this is the open source stuff, right? The OpenStreetMap, and then this leaf thing is right. It's a Discord number. I mean, the reason why I put the number there is to get people interested to see what it is. So if you hover over it, it says you can click on it and join the Discord server, right? People didn't like that much, did they? Okay, let's ask ChatGPT. Does Leaflet utilize OpenStreetMap, and is it possible to search it by address? Additionally, is there some known React wrapper for? Say that I build a UI using, and I want to ask a user to their address in the map. How do I do this? Yeah, but that's the problem, right? I don't want to be paying for. So the biggest thing that I'm trying to avoid here is this part, right? Because all the geolocation services are not free, right? Because they have to do the reversing the IP and doing the IP lookup and then converting the IP into the actual geolocation, right? Are any of these geolocation services actually open source or free? So yeah, that's the problem, right? Map box. Okay, let's see the map box. All right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but how do we kind of show, right? The problem is, how do we show, in order for the map to show your address, right? In order for the map to show your address, the map needs the geolocation, right? No, but Google isn't free, right? That's why I don't want to use it. Google isn't free neither, right? Oh my God, this is actually really good. We could technically build a service around this. Yeah. Wow. Wow, this is amazing resource actually. Shit. I think it's a very valid question. Like, how relevant is this to have a map? I think for the meetup type of feature, generally is very relevant, right? So let me put it this way: whenever I used meetup.com, and I used this website for more than a decade, literally every single meetup I attended in my life, I found it via meetup.com. The first thing you do, really, the first thing that you do is like, okay, where the hell is this hosted? Like sometimes I even just look at the map and say, oh, this is at Norbro or some neighborhood. Like I don't have the time, right, to go there. So I think it's relevant when people come here, they can actually see where it's organized. They can click on a map. It takes them to the location, right? I think that's incredibly useful, right? Otherwise, they would have to copy paste that address and then paste it somewhere in a map or whatever. Now, what we could actually do, shit, can't we do it like this? Actually, I think you're right. Can't we like... So what happens if I say here, if I type in my own address here, right? How is the URL constructed? Is there like a way that I construct... Let me ask ChatGPT. Is there a way that I don't want a map, somehow take the user address from the input and somehow merge it with a Google Maps URL? There we go. So this is, I think, all we need, really, right? Right. I think this is pretty much what we need, right? Give me 1 second. Okay, that wasn't very useful, was it? Ah, because yeah, we're missing a link there, but actually it's fine. Where is it? Where is that crap? Here, right? I mean, right? No, I mean, the thing is, right? Think about it this way: as I spoke before about COGS and cost of goods sold, right? Like it's in everyone. It's the users underestimate the importance of product being cheap to maintain, right? Because at one point, if I ever introduce something that you guys could pay, you would much rather want to pay $1 a month than $5 a month, because I need $4 extra to run this service, right? It's just I don't want to pay for stupid things, right? Things which bring no concrete value. And the irony of those things is that mostly those services which are absolutely like an afterthought are super expensive, right? I mean, if you want to like so it's just being kind of pragmatic, right? Yeah, let's not overcomplicate. I think this is awesome, right? Let's actually test this a little bit, right? Um, let's test this a little bit, right? So let's do the following, right? So what we're actually gonna do, we're gonna go to the event, right? And we're gonna go to the utils here, convert this into a function called get Google Maps URL from address or similar. So there we go. All right, let's take a look at that. So if we go over here, right, and if we go to one of the events, right, so here you can see that we're actually providing some sort of location, or let's call this address, right, and not location. So I should have actually, but it doesn't really matter, right? What did I want to do? Jesus Christ, man. Right, so we say address here. Why is this crap still showing location instead of address? Are you kidding me, man? Oh, sorry, this is meetup. I'm looking at the wrong thing. So let's go to one of the events. And this fella should say address now, right? Okay, great. Where is it? Address. Okay. Okay, so now if I take my own address and I go and smack it in there, right? So I go here and I say, all right, take this. And we'll need to do some logic here between if it's physical or whatever. This should be in person and this should be my address. So we update this. JavaScript Copenhagen. And then here, because we want to be super minimal, we want to show the address right below. So let's actually do that, right? So if we go back to, so we don't need the event form. If we actually go to the event, right? So here we have the title. We have, yeah, we have the title and we have the dates and stuff like that, right? Where are we? Yeah, here, description. This is what I meant. So here we can actually, we're gonna say events, I guess, right? Yeah. So event.location, right? All right, so we save this, right? That's great. Good. We'll figure out with this. We'll fiddle with this layout eventually, right? So now, basically, here over here we can say, okay, what was it? Get location. No, get map something. Yeah, get Google Maps URL from address, right? And essentially what we will actually do, so my bad, so events.location, right? We're gonna actually wrap this bad boy into an anchor tag instead, right? So for now it's gonna be an anchor tag with an href of this, and then it's gonna be target blank, right? Something like this for now, right? Yeah, there we go. Right? Yeah, so that's definitely where I live. Yeah, 100%. Okay, is it? Yeah, it is. Okay. So, right, so we could technically, users would obviously, it's slightly error prone. But I think it could work. We could also add like the address icon or location. Let's actually give it a shot. And then we need to write this logic based on the event type. So if it's a physical event, you provide address. If it's a virtual event, you provide a link. So we'll have to kind of cover that logic as well, but let's keep it, let's do it step by step. So here, do I have some location icon? Okay, let's go to this icon library, this, what is it, this crap. Yeah, let's go all icons. Let's say location marker or whatever. Yeah, or a location, right? Let's find something cool, something super minimalistic. Interesting. Which one should we use? Yeah, who cares, right? Let's see if there's something nice. Yeah, maybe this stuff. Yeah, let's grab this, let's say SVG, right? And as always, let's slam this through our SVGR, right? Assets, images, SVG. Here we're gonna create a new one. We're gonna call it location SVG. You can't leave, man. It's unfair. I'm just kidding. I love you, dude. Have a good night. Sleep well. And I hope you will not, I hope you will keep loving me, man. It's unacceptable that you have life outside of the stream. Absolutely unacceptable. Enjoy, man. Have a great one. Enjoy yourself, man. Be well. Thank you again. Those people with life, unacceptable. Bounty, my friend. Good evening. Bounty, my dear follower. What would be the icon for this, guys? So for the dates, okay, date, that's what I meant, right? Jesus Christ. I mean, we have the icon for that already, right? So that should be fine. Let's just say here, don't we have some date icon? Actually, we don't, but we do have the calendar, right? Yeah, so let's try that calendar, right? 2, and let's say also width of 6, and pretty much the same stuff like this, right? We're gonna make it flex, so the same thing all over the place, right? So class name, and then this, right? Okay, great. Let's make it smaller. Yeah, that's not terrible, right? I don't think it is. And then also this date is going to be slightly different. We're going to actually do that right away. So the only thing that I dislike right now is that they're not kind of aligned. Can we do like PL1? Yeah, that's better, right? And obviously we need some spacing in there, right? So we're going to say MB2. Right, yeah. Maybe MB2 here as well. That would be 8 pixels, right? No, maybe too much. MB1. Yeah, maybe something like that, right? So super simple, super primitive, pretty much the way what we want it, right? So the address, location, date, then it's going to be description and some other things. The attendees, we still haven't shown those. So I think that's actually pretty good. Give me a second. Yeah. Exactly. Now, of course, as I said, right, so we need to be careful here, right? Because as you can see, thank you everybody for your follows, very much appreciated. As you can see, we have two different types of events. We have the location type in our table, right? Wow, we got a 6-month sub. Thank you very much, Pixel Root. Appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot for your support. And thank you others for the follows as well. That's very kind of you, man. Thank you. So as you can see, we have virtual and in-person events, right? So we need to be very careful on how we actually do this part. Thank you, Dude, again. I mean, more thank you for liking the stream rather than, so that's why. I mean, it's a type of acknowledgement one often needs to know that, okay, you know, is what I'm doing even worth to anybody, right? So thank you, man. Thanks. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to take this thing and say, okay, this thing should be evaluated based on the location type, right? So, so let's create a nested components folder in here. And let's say here, let's call this event location, right? Let's create a new component called event location. And and then this location is gonna get some stuff. 25 gold. Hey buddy, how's life? So we're gonna do this, and we're gonna export obviously from here, and then we're gonna say here export const event location exactly, and then we're gonna return this fella over here. Right now, is it gonna be an anchor or not? Well, we'll see. It's definitely going to be an anchor, but where is it going to take, right? Where is it going to take us, right? And yeah. Yeah, 25. Well, you know, I'm a minimalist, right? You can see that I'm, yeah, definitely. So actually, we might not even need this now when I look at it, right? Maybe I don't even need to do this, right? Wait, give me a moment. Where were we? Was it event, right? I don't think that we actually have to do this at all, right? I think all of this is great. I think pretty much the only difference is going to be here, right? So I think what we actually should, okay, exactly. So yeah, that's actually really good. The less components we make, the better, right? So actually what we're going to do, we're going to say here, you know, we're going to create a new utility function. We're going to call it export get event location by event type, right? And we don't really need event because event does contain, right? Or was it location? Let me actually take a look at the database, right? So if we take a look at the event meetup event, right, we have description, start, end date, and you can see we have event type on it and location type, right? So we have two types of things, right? And actually there's probably several permutations of those, but not really, right? So you can have a location either in person or online, virtual, and then the event type can be the meetup or hackathon, whatever. So actually we're good. Okay, great. Yeah, so we don't really need this markup here. Pretty much what we need, we have to say, well, you know, no, not really, but let's see what the Copilot generated. But in simple words, what we really need is this. So yeah, if it's in person, right, then we want to say return this, right? If it's a physical event, we want the physical address, right? And I think this should be event.location, right? And which we should also rename, right? But let me take a look at the database yet again. Meetup event, I think I called it location. Yes, not the address. Okay, great. So go back here. So that's good. So if it's a physical event, help please C# plus TypeScript or Go plus for the future. Depends what you want to build, right? If you want to build APIs, then go with Go, definitely. If you want to build APIs and video games and a lot more, Mobile apps go with C#, right? Every tool has its place. C# is a beautiful language. Go is a beautiful and a very simple language as well. So there's no such thing, right? Well, backend is a broad term, right? Backend of what? You want to build a system level apps, mobile apps, APIs, right? There's many things which are considered to be backend, right? Web apps, microservices, go with Go. Yeah, definitely. If you want to build microservices, go with Go for sure. There's not a single question about that. Single question about that. Virtual, okay. I mean, what we could do actually here, just to prettify it a bit, let's just switch here an event type. And we should probably create an enum here of things, but it doesn't really matter. In person, let's just let this guy generate it. It doesn't really matter. So we're gonna do this. Yes, great. And then here, if it's virtual, right, then we should create some sort of an enum for this or some const, right? So let's do that here. Let's just say const. Go is never gonna die, man. Go is just gonna grow more and more by year, right? So it's certainly not, Go is not going anywhere. If I'm pretty sure that C# would die sooner than Go. So I would not worry about that the slightest. Go is a beautiful language. It's the most beautiful language that I've ever worked with in all these years, right? So for sure. It's absolutely beautiful language in every way almost. It's really hard to find a language so great as Go. It's crazy. Numinex, thank you, buddy. Seriously, thank you for coming back again and again and again, dude. I very much appreciate it. Thank you again, man. Seriously, thanks a lot. And thank you guys for your follows and subs and all of that crazy stuff. Okay, so get event by event type. Let's auto import this. And pretty much we're gonna do this. We're gonna give it the whole event. But we don't actually need to leak that information there, so forgive my stupidity. So we should only give it the actual type. But actually we can't because we need the other information as well. All good, all good. So we will give it, in fact, the whole event, right? I don't prefer any operating system. I use MacBook Pro for my full-time job. I use this guy for my work. I use Windows and Linux equally. I have my Kubernetes server. Here I have a 4-unit rack. I mean, I don't have a preference for when it comes to operating system. I use them all. Even now I'm using, all of this is running in Windows Linux subsystem. This is running Ubuntu. So I'm using the best of all worlds. I also agree with Sako. I mean, again, that's why I say, I mean, it depends what you want to do. If you want to build microservices, for me, Go is a no-brainer, right? Right. So it's not even a right. So for sure, right? But I would not mind writing C#. C# is an absolutely beautiful language, and I really what the. I don't care, man. Operating system is such an irrelevant concept that it's not worth discussing, right? It's a fucking program that runs your other tools. If it works, great. If it doesn't, it's not great. It's that simple, right? Why make operating system even a matter of discussion, right? is your computer fast enough? Does your software works? Yes. Then who cares, man? Who cares, bro? It's like with your car. You don't wake up every day, sit in your car and think about your engine. It's like, oh my God, it's pumping fuel so good. It's implicit. You don't give a shit. You rather care about if the seats are comfortable, if there's air conditioning in the car and stuff like that, right? So if it works, use it. If it doesn't, switch, and that's it. It's just a huge waste of time even discussing operating systems. Like, there's nothing more useless to talk about, right? Well, if you were, yeah, absolutely. But most people aren't, right? So what's the point, right? Is there actually event type? No, I don't think it's event type, bro. It is event. No, 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 no. It's location type. Jesus Christ, man. Okay, sorry, my bad. So this should be by location type, yeah. I'm just trying to remove any. My goal always with this stream is to obsolete irrelevant things for people, right? I cannot give you an advice that's shitty or false, right? Operating system isn't something that anyone cares. Nobody cares in your surrounding which operating system you use. Nobody is going to pay you more because you use one over the other. Nobody cares except you, which means you use the operating system that works best for you. That's the whole point. There's no value for anyone except you, which operating system you're using. That's the whole point. Nobody else cares. You get what I mean? So what you use whatever you want, right? I use all three of them, and all three of them have their applications, right? Try playing video games on Linux, or try programming some low-level stuff on Windows, or right. So that's how it is, man. Like, nobody cares what operating system you're using. That's just sweaty nerds wasting time with that, man. Use whatever works for you, and that's it, right? Don't think it's worth spending time on that at all. Okay, so that's great. So that kind of works now, I guess. Let's actually test it with another event. Let's go to meetups. Ah, shit, actually, no, it's fine. So let's go here, events, Twitch stream. That's good, but nothing special. Let's edit this fella here, and let's change this to virtual, right? Okay, good, 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 great. So now for this fella right here, we would need a URL, right? And right now, that's slightly awkward, right? So we would need some sort of conditional validation as well, right? But either way, right? This, we need to make sure that this now is an actual URL to some place somewhere, right? So we would need a conditional schema, right? We would need conditional AJV JSON schema. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Give me a second. Let me just think about that for a moment. So yeah. So if we get over here, right? Do we have some sort of schema of some kind, right? Mac OS is amazing, right? I mean, I've been coding on a MacBook Pro for almost 15 years now. I had it since very early, since very, very early. And MacBook Pro is the best laptop that there is for work. There's no better laptop out there when it comes to work, right? When it comes to the stream, this shitty guy, this crappy laptop cannot stream as this. Right now I'm streaming in 1440p. So this machine here can crap on any laptop. Why? Well, because this is a 16 core i9 2900K 4070 Ti graphics, DDR5 with working on 6000 megahertz almost, right? So this is like a mind-blowingly good machine, right? well, if I could stream from this shitty laptop, I would, right? Then I wouldn't use Windows. That's true, yes. Yeah, that's 100% true, yeah. If I could, I wouldn't, yeah. But the only difference, 25 Gold, is that my videos that I upload to YouTube, they're then 4040p, right? So that's main reason why I'm doing it, right? You're most likely right, like, right? It's mostly right when after every stream, you know, I go to YouTube, right? And then I upload those things to YouTube, right? I upload them here, so people can maybe watch them, you know, if they want later on, right? So that's the main reason, right? Okay, so let's try to use ChatGPT a bit, right? So because and keep in mind with JSON with AJV, another JSON validator, which is apparently the fastest JSON schema validator right now that Fastify uses. AJV specification, official specification, supports conditional validation schemas, meaning that you can write a little bit of if statements in your schema. That kind of sucks because it becomes almost stateful in a way, and you have to now read the schema. But you can see that we want this schema, it has to be conditional, because we want to say, hey, if location type is virtual, then location has to be a URL. If the location type is in person, meaning physical, then the location has to be a string, basically, just some location. Smarty, good evening, buddy. So let's give that to ChatGPT, right? My mother tongue is Serbian. Okay, let's go here, and I'm gonna say, can you do a conditional schema to be more precise? If what is it? What do we have? If location type is in person, location type is a person, location type is in person, then location should be a string. Otherwise, if location type is virtual, location should be of type string and format URL. Oh my god, he wrote a perfect sentence in Cyrillic. It's actually, but he probably used the fucking assholes. Shut up. Anyway, I'm not gonna allow you to distract me, fucking bastards, okay? Annoying assholes. Okay. Yeah, look at this fucking dick. So you guys should learn something, scumbags. So you can see here, you can do conditional schemas, right? Why you think C# is going? I don't think that neither of the languages are going to hell. That was just my response to you saying I hope that Go is still gonna exist. And my response to that, if any of the languages would go away, which they will never go away, any of those two, I think, I would rather bet against C# than Go, right? I don't think that any of them are gonna go away anywhere, right? I don't think that any of the languages are gonna go away, you know. I mean, you still have languages like Pascal and you know, Delphi and stuff like that, which are still out there, right? So it's very hard for a language to just evaporate, right? COBOL, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Delphi was a solid language, right? It was in many ways ahead of time, right? The thing is, I think my prediction for very long, very long, right? I think in many years, I think the languages are going to become so abstract. The languages are going to become so abstract that they will just cease to exist. And then you're going to have one interface, which is going to be an AI that's going to just write, super low level code, super optimized code that's almost close to the hardware as possible. This is probably going to happen in like 100 years. But I think we can see that languages year by year are becoming more and more abstract. And then it's just a matter of time following this trajectory where at one point they will become human language. So at one point in time, in a couple of decades, you're going to write software by just using speech API or something and saying, hey, computer, I need you to build me this with that and blah, blah, blah. And then it's probably going to guide you because you're not going to have any domain knowledge, but you're probably not going to need any, right? And this is evident even without AI, because if you looked 10 years ago, then 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you can see a huge jumps in abstraction, right? I mean, 20 years ago, you had C and a lot of low-level languages, and then C++ was considered like, oh my God, this is so high level. But now you have so many languages where everything is almost taken away from you. You don't have to think about it, right? In games, for example, for AI, it's harder to solve problems. I mean, games are a very generic thing, right? I don't think that gaming is any less generic than I don't think the gaming is any less generic than a web page, right? In a game you have in a video game you have a few concepts which always repeat, right? I mean, it's not when you build a video game you have the audio engine, you have the physics engine, you have the movement, the gravity, the acceleration, and stuff like that, right? You have the infinite loop running, right, that you stop eventually. So I don't think that I don't think that games have changed past 20 years at all. Only thing that has changed is 3D models. Hardware can now really render. Like, the only thing that has really changed about video games last 30 years is the hardware. It's not even the software. The only reason why you see those beautiful games today and you haven't seen them 20 years ago is because of hardware, because now your GPU can process all of this crap. But I don't think that building games is any harder than building anything else, right? It's the same crap, right? You just repeat the same stuff pretty much all over again, right? I don't think it's any difference, right? I mean, also math, right? I mean, which math, right? I mean, all of that stuff is taken away from you, right? You don't sit and build it. No sane person today builds their own game engine, right? I mean, you have insanely huge companies having thousands of people doing that job, and still it's incredibly difficult, right? So, and this is the problem with many young individuals. I mean, I remember in 2013 I was building a game in C++. But then at one point, after a year, friends of me and we actually realized that we haven't been building a game. We've been building a game engine and a tile editor and a map editor. And then we all realized collectively that it's not the game that we wanted to build at all, actually. It was the technology that builds the game, right? So this is kind of what a lot of young individuals today want to do. They don't actually want to build a video game, because building a good video game requires most fundamental talents which have nothing to do with technical things. It's building an actual game that's fun, and that's hard. Building a fucking tiles that and physics and collision, that's not hard, man. Anyone can learn that. Anyone can learn to collide two objects and animate them, right, when they touch each other. It's because this sort of stuff is taken away from you anyway. You can literally use Unity or any of those amazing tools, right? So that's not where the complexity is building games, right? And it's the same thing with React.js. the complexity of building web apps isn't building components. It's actually knowing what to build that's useful, right? It's like here, like my job here, building programming network, I don't give a crap about components or APIs. That's easy for me. I've done this a million times. It's like, what do you build? When do you build it? Is it useful? Does anyone wants to use it? And that's the same with video game. If you build a video game, if nobody wants to play it, who gives a crap, right? I mean, who cares, right? I mean, if you build a video game, you know what I mean? It's like, who cares? Okay, great. So it actually does work. Beautiful, beautiful. So nice. Yes. Fuck yes. Great. And it works. Beautiful. No, I think I think I'm still fairly amazing with. I mean, I know JavaScript language on a very low level, right? I've spent many years trying to master the language, so no, I think I still have a lot of confidence in that sense, I must admit, and I'm actually proud of that. I spent first 4 or 5 years of my career actually being obsessed by the low level details of JavaScript, and that was probably the most fun part of my career, is actually reading the JavaScript spec and all of that stuff. Probably that I'm never gonna do JavaScript related anything more fun than that. That was really, really fun. Just learning to read the JavaScript spec at the first place was incredibly fun, right? Just learning the notation of the spec, learning how to jump and forward between certain things, that was incredibly fun, right? If you are not doing that, I highly advise you to do that, and I highly advise you to read whenever you can You Don't Know JavaScript by Carl Simpson, right? Those are great books. I bought them many years ago in physical form as well. This is really truly a gold type of thing. I'm going to share it in the chat. Those books are incredibly good, and of course it's very hard to just read them and then do nothing. But if you actually read some of the concepts as you go, as you build products, as you build JavaScript, then right, all of the books, even the first one, the get started one, but then scopes and closures, objects and classes, and async stuff, really top notch. And the best of all, they're fully free, so you can fully read them all here. Just chapter 1, then you scroll, chapter 2, chapter 3, right? Really good stuff. I would highly advise you to do that. If you ever wonder how all of those frameworks work and what's happening, and then of course you're going to get a lot of insights in how other languages work as well. Okay, so this is amazing. So you can see now, yeah, action script and exactly. I mean, the thing is, JavaScript has also gotten better and changed a lot in recent years, right? But yeah. Wait, what did I want to do? I just had a thought and I lost it. Yeah, here. Okay, so location format. Yeah, so error message. Format. Yeah, location. Exactly. Beautiful. Let me just test that for a second. Ooh, I didn't actually like that. Location properties. Oh, I misspelled error message. Error massage. Error massage in virtual. Location should be valid URL. Error massage. I like it. It's like massage this error. Just like take it nicely and just massage it, right? Beautiful. Properties, location. So if property, location, type. But seriously, guys, so just to kind of, so you can take away something from this, right? So if you end up using AJV, right, that you see me past year using with Fastify, right, this is really powerful, right? Try to at least keep in back of your mind that with AJV you can do conditions in your schema. you can see here that this is incredibly useful. And I use this at Dream Data. I used this a couple of months ago when I building some very complex logic, right? You can see here that your schema now is conditional in a sense that you're saying if location type is in person, then location is of type string and min length 1. Otherwise, if the location type is something else, in this case, we only have 2 types. If we had more than 2 types, then we would have if else, right, in the schema here. But if it's virtual, then the format should be URI. So I'm basically, you can see this little line here ensures now that my input expects a link and not a string. That's insanely huge, right? Because otherwise you would have to write this logic with JavaScript, right? This is AJV, right? So Fastify is using AJV. Fastify is using AJV as its validation library, right? It's using it because it's written in C++ and it's apparently very fast. Well, it's actually one of the fastest, if not the fastest one. And you can see it has good sponsors. Retool, it's the product I use at work. Microsoft, this small company. Mozilla, right? So it's really, really good, right? Yeah. I use this, if you remember, I shared also, we use this fully for programmer network on both ends in isomorphic way, right? And if you remember, actually, we have, open sourced. I've wrote that stuff and I shared it with you guys. So this is some of the validators that I use for programmer network, right? Matteo. Hey, Matteo, my friend. Let me actually see. Did the Fastify get an update? Because I'm keeping up with every single version. Yeah, 4.23.2. Which version is our production running? Fastify 4.21. Okay. Ooh, let's see the release notes. Actually, I'm actually excited. I love Fastify so much, man. Like, Jesus, I love it so much. It's crazy. I don't think ever in my career, and I've wrote so many different languages, is just, I love it so much. Okay, which version are we on? 4.21. Okay, let's see what changed since 4.21, just so we can, okay. So we're missing this. What change? Make Fastify schema validation error params wider. Documents has plugin does not track. So you have to, so at your work, for example, you have to have some sort of a dependency update strategy. I, as a tech lead, I have it once a month with my team. So I have like a recurring calendar invite or event for my team. And once a month we sit and we check the dependencies and we update them. So you have to have a strategy about this, right? What do you think of Express? I mean, the thing is, what I think of Express is that Express is obsolete, right? So there's, for example, Andrew, thank you very much, buddy. That's very kind of you, man. Thanks a lot. Happy that you're enjoying the stream. Express has done so much to the community. Express has been amazing. Express has been easy. It made so many people go into backend development. So I have nothing negative to say about Express whatsoever. Express should never be used again for any new projects. Express, in that sense, should just die, right? Let me elaborate why. First, let's take a Fastify as an example, right? So Fastify architecturally is better than Express in every single way. There's not a single thing that Express does better than Fastify, for example. And I can mention nestjs and a lot of other stuff, but let's just keep those two in comparison, right? Thank you again, man. Thanks a lot. So Express should die in the context of new projects. Express is going to live for a long time because there are many projects out there using it. There are many libraries using Express underneath, but Express is slow by modern standards. Express architecture is obsolete. The way that, to be more specific, the way that routes are handled by Express is very inefficient. They're basically using regex matching for it's not opinionated enough. Express doesn't come with sufficient tools for modern development, like for example Fastify does. In Fastify you have hooks, it's microservice kind of architected, you have plugins, you have incredibly fast logger, Pino. So in a way, I can't, there's nothing really wrong fundamentally with Express. It's still a technology that works. It just works worse than anything else that's more modern. So don't take me wrong. I'm not saying Express is bad. It's just it's literally makes zero sense to use Express for new projects because Fastify syntax-wise is almost entirely exactly the same. Like you can switch from Express to Fastify without feeling it, right? And still, you would feel right. So it's just, and this is factual, right? This is not opinion based. I've wrote probably more Express APIs than anyone in this chat since Node.js exists. Since I literally remember Express version 1, Express version 2, Express version 3. I remember all of them. I remember what they did. I can literally give you the timeline. It's just if you're starting a new project, don't use Express. Express is obsolete, and you have Nest.js, you have Fastify, you have even things like Rails.js, Happy.js, right? Even all of those things are better. I used to use Happy.js before. They have a beautiful method chaining validation library as well. And there's just sufficient amount of opinionated things which are really good. Problem with Express in version 3, when they transitioned to version 4, they broke down the project into multiple repositories, so body parser and static server, and a lot of those things became separate. But Express really always stayed too, they didn't find the right balance between opinionated and non-opinionated stuff. So for example, in my opinion, every modern API framework should come with some well-functioning logging system, like Fastify. Like Fastify comes with Pino. Pino is written in C. It's a highly efficient logger that has been really efficiently implemented. So nobody should start a project and think, which logger should we use? Where should we log things? How should we do it? And so many other things. Express is very verbose when it comes to errors. You have to try catch all the exceptions. So the errors in Express haven't even been a matter of discussion there, I think. So there's so many things I can say about it that just doesn't make it a good thing anymore. And of course, unfortunately, by modern standards, it's very slow. Even though, as I always say, you will probably never reach the point of it being slow, so it's not going to really matter if you use one or the other. But if you actually get to the point where it does matter, then it is actually slow, right? What do I think about do you know about TRPC? Yeah, I know about its mod. Yes, I know about TRPC and gRPC as well. Pino is used by Express natively. Pino is used by Fastify natively. Fastify is built on top of Pino. So Fastify is built on top of this logger, right? And as you can see, you can use it in your project as well, right? But again, it's just there's no argument that you can share today if starting a new project where you can persuade anybody that Express is a good idea, because it's simply they're just better solutions. That's really all that there is to it. And all of the solutions, you also have Nest.js, which is really more about people who like Nest.js would be a great choice for, let's say, C# developers who want to write JavaScript. It would be great for Java developers. It would be great for people who like to encapsulate themselves in 50 different patterns, event emitter, decorators, having one endpoint defined in 15 different files and stuff like that, right? So if you like that sort of stuff, right, then Nest.js, right? Exactly. I mean, the thing is, this is the problem, right? When you look at AngularJS versus React, when you look at Nest.js versus, let's say, Fastify, right? There are two sides to it, right? And the opinion or the truth is in the eyes of the beholder or whatever, right? Like the Fastify, Express, Golang, for example, Go as a language, Fastify as a framework, Express.js as a framework. Those are very minimal types of things. It's so simple. It's so easy. You have a URL that's when it's hit, execute some function, and run some code. It's as simple as it can be. Now you have the world of Nest.js, or if we talk about AngularJS in the front end, you have to go to 15 different places for this to happen. I'm going to emit some event. I'm going to have something somewhere that catches that, then does something else, right? And of course, depending who you ask, they're going to say, well, actually, no, Nest.js is super clean. I have all of those 13 different places and I know, right? But at the end of the day, for me, it's all about simplicity. I think building APIs should indeed be incredibly simple, because what is an API? You hit some string, that string matches against some function, and that's really all that there is to it. But again, I cannot say that one thing is better than the other, because again, it really boils down to who you are, where you're coming from. I think a lot of those people, a lot of the young individuals who are kind of doing object-oriented programming and who like those types of things, as their career advances, they will be more and more going away from it. Because I think, in my opinion, I think object-oriented programming should not exist. I think it's the complete fallacy, and it's a complete it's a failed concept, right? So I would, for instance, completely kill object-oriented if I'm asked. But then that's a very hard opinion, because some people are going to say, what? Object-oriented programming is the best, right? So yeah. But as you grow, as you gain more experience, I think a lot of people realize that, and they move more and more from that. The web framework that scales with you. Jesus fucking Christ, man. Marketing, so much marketing. And I think that's why JavaScript, for instance, is a great and a shitty language at once. I think JavaScript enables you truly to write code in so many different ways, right? So JavaScript enables you to really use a bit of OOP, which I agree. Not everything about OOP is bad. I 100% agree. But the problem is with languages like Java, C# has gotten better, right? C# has actually been going away in a way almost to some degree from OOP. So I think OOP has its place, but not as a full-scale solution. Like, I'm going to design this system in 163 different classes, right? That's the problem. Because fundamentally, you can't develop a software making predictions of your models like that, right? Because at one point in time, you're gonna realize that you made a mistake. You went right instead of left, and now you're screwed, right? Right. I don't know what I think about this. What I think is that their website looks cool, and they're trying to sell this like every other company is trying to sell their own technology, right? Of course, Madi, 100%. Of course. I think that the beauty is in languages that actually enable you to, to write a mix of all of those things. That's why I think JavaScript, again, can be a horrible language, and it can be a beautiful language, depending who writes it. So the biggest problem with JavaScript, which is a paradox in a way, is that it's such an easy entry-level language, but it's also a language that's not opinionated enough. So you can make so many mistakes. For example, the reason why Golang is such a beautiful language, right, is because it's full of constraints. When you read a Go code base, every code base almost looks identical because the language itself has a very strict guidelines. It has its own tooling. You get Go format, Go lint. So it doesn't allow you to, oh, I'm going to write a for loop here and a, map reduce here. When you write Golang, right, you write it in a certain way. It's very idiomatic. Most Golang developers, they're like, I'm going to write idiomatic Go, right? So we all know you go to idiomatic Go documentation and you see how you should be doing error handling and this and that. Hard thing about JavaScript, and a beautiful thing, is that in JavaScript, right, you can do error handling in 15 different ways. You can write a function in like 5 different ways, right? So depending how you observe it and who you are and what experience you bring, you can write beautiful JavaScript, beautiful code, perfect code, or you can write a horrible one because you have so much space to do it, right? So that is the problem, right? So languages that do give you more flexibility are more prone to look like crap, right? Because right. Anyway, that escalated. I was asked what do I think about Express, and then I held a whole course on frameworks. Jesus Christ! I wish I have someone to break my stream videos into YouTube videos. I would probably have a lot of more viewers. I mean, yeah, let's just try to bump our let's try to just bump Fastify very quickly, right? Actually, you know what? Let's just try, because I really want to always be on the latest version, because those guys are actually kicking ass pretty hard, and I respect Matteo, the guy who wrote it. I just make sure we didn't break anything, that there are no breaking changes, right? Let's go to localhost. Is everything still functioning? Yeah, it does seem so, right? Yeah. So let's push it to production and see. Hopefully, actually, no, let's not. No, let's not do it. No, it's okay. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. Okay. Okay. So let's keep on coding, right? Let me just give me 1 second. My wife wrote to me like 36 different messages. Okay, give me 1 second. I think my. Oh yeah, she's saying she's shit. She's working overtime. That sucks. Okay. Yeah, not great. Coding what I came for. Okay, let me just pour in some water. Give me 1 second. I'm using, so this is my streaming machine, right? So many people asked me, even past couple of minutes, which operating system I use. I use Mac OS at work, and this is a streaming machine. So this is Windows, but then I run all of my services here in Windows Linux subsystem. So this stuff is Ubuntu. As of the terminal, it's I have a YouTube video, and also you can actually click that. You can open that link. If you want, please give it a star as well if you didn't already. So I've shared my configuration there, but you can also watch the YouTube video on that. So I also recorded this video, just FYI. So yeah, there you go. Okay, beautiful. Thank you, guys. My pleasure, man. Thank you for asking. Okay, great. So let's do some of the simple things, because we're just speaking past an hour. Yeah, so let's just do simple things. So I'm gonna go to Meetup. No, that's a form, Meetup form, event form, index. What is this? Yeah. And where the hell do we put the back button to go back to meetups? It's so annoying, man. Pixel Root, thank you very much, man. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the subs and all of that. Really good to meet you, man. Sleep well, and I hope to see you tomorrow. I'm traveling to Stockholm to Google conference with my team, as I said. So I'll try to tune in after tomorrow is the conference. I'm gonna try to stream from the actual conference. So hopefully you guys are gonna be able to see me there if the internet works. But next stream, if I don't stream from the event, the next stream like this is gonna be on Friday. Because yeah, I'm going with 11 of us are going in the morning to taking a train here from Copenhagen to Stockholm. We're taking a 5-hour train, and Google is actually organizing the train, so it's going to be couple of half of the train is just going to be developers, and we're going to be networking and having food and drinks and stuff on the train. So I'm gonna actually send you guys some pictures on Discord and stuff. That should be actually a very fun experience. I'm looking forward to see how that's gonna play out. And then we're gonna sleep over. We already booked accommodation. Then yeah, it's literally the Google train. We're taking the Google train at Matty. Well, if you're in Copenhagen, it would be I would get very mad if we don't meet each other, right? So make sure that if you come here, yeah, it's gonna be kind of the Google train. Yeah, Google paid for our trip, so everything is paid by Google pretty much. Yeah, everything, the whole trip back and forth by train is actually paid by Google. Yeah. There you go. Maybe one day we organize a little gathering of programmer network. Who knows? We just meet in Copenhagen and hang out. I am running the Nobel. I am running this stuff you see in my terminal is running in Windows Linux subsystem. Yes. Of course, beers. Of course, man. Of course. What else than beers? What else than beers, right? And somebody actually shared this, but actually we gave up on that idea. Okay, we don't need this anymore. We don't need. Let me just close up some of this stuff just so we can. And thank you guys for your follows and subs and stuff. Actually, it's pretty cool. Thank you. I don't know if they're going to be fridges in the train, to be very frank with you. You guys are going to know. I'm going to send all the pictures in Discord. I'm going to send all the pictures here in Discord, like literally as of tomorrow. So if you give a crap and if you're not part of Discord, make sure to join. I'm going to send all the messages. Van den Noble, thank you, buddy. Oh, we had so many subs this stream. It's crazy. I think it's the record. Little Leon, my best man. Good evening. Thank you, guys. A very motivating stream. Literally what I needed. Have you been to Aarhus? Yeah, Aarhus is beautiful. Aarhus is beautiful, 100%. Yes. Definitely. Nice, man. I'm happy. Yeah, just that's really what it is. And Fastify syntax is pretty much the same as Express, right? So you don't really need to do much, right? Like in Express, it's typical that this object is called app. So you can just as well say const app is Fastify, and then it's gonna look almost exactly the same as Express. You're gonna say app.get, right? It's just that Fastify takes away a lot of burden from you. You can see here you can just return in Fastify. You don't have to. If you don't want to. You don't have to say return request.code whatever 200.send whatever. If you're just returning a 200 and some object, for example, right? You can just do this, for instance, which is silly, right? But there's so many things, right? I mean, Programmer Network is using it where so every single thing that we have is running on Fastify, right? It's literally I would not join such a server, right? It's I don't it's I mean, right. So whatever, right? We'll have to fix this Copenhagen, Denmark. Yeah, that's fucking stupid completely. So we'll need to solve that, right? I think for the let me actually change the music before I fall asleep. That's a good point. Let's go with something something interesting. Let's go. Wait. I have an idea. I don't know. I don't know what I. Well, I mean, we use Fastify at Dream Data as well, and we also use it in production in Programmer Network, right? So both of them, yes, 100%, yes. B41, good evening, buddy. So yes, we're using Fastify Dream Data as well, right? And also, of course, one of the most fundamental things, one of the most important things with Fastify is that you get Swagger for free. That's such a huge win that even just this thing is worth switching, right? Because Fastify Swagger extension utilizes your AJV schema just out of the box. So you, by validating your code, are implicitly getting your OpenSpec API there. So this thing is fully generated from your code. You don't need to touch this, right? Of course, for Express in general, you have to do everything manually, yes. Whatever we discuss, right? This thing, you can see we have what, 40, 50 things. This is, I don't write this manually. Whenever I update my AJV, my another JSON validator, JSON schema, the Swagger is updated for me. Literally, this only is worth switching, not to mention a million other things, right? Because having a spec for your API is something that should not be a matter of discussion anymore. Because how many of you, and I know that you have because I've experienced it myself, how many of you every day on your work, you go and like, hey man, where do I get this data? And it's like, I don't know, man, go to your code and see what the endpoint is returning. Or how many of you are opening the network tab every day to see what data you're getting, right? And I know that you are, because I've done that a million times. Because most companies, probably 98% of them, they don't have their APIs documented, right? So you have to go either read the code or open your browser or do a curl call, whatever HTTP client you're using to interface with it, right? Andrew, man, thank you very much, dude. Sleep well. For sure, no, and somebody said I thought you're writing yourself. Of course, I'm not writing this myself. I would not do that. Writing an OpenSpec API yourself is incredibly annoying. Not because you have to write it manually, it's because you have to keep it updated. And keeping it updated is the hardest thing, because you're gonna, at one point, you're gonna change your code. You're not going to update the spec, and then you're gonna do that once, twice, 3 times, 10 times, 50 times, and then your spec is useless because it's completely out of sync with your API. So this thing can only be good, and it can only be useful if it's generated when you change your code. And this is the main reason why most companies don't document, or most developers don't document their APIs, is because the technologies that they're using are not enabling them to do things automatically, which again is another point. Any modern tool, any modern framework that you end up using must do this automatically. If it doesn't, then it's not worth using. This thing, right? Oh, the authentication. I mean, what it is to say, right? I mean, I've done the authentication manually, right? I'm using Fastify, Fastify JSON Web Token, right? Luin, good evening, buddy. So, in a nutshell, this is how, basically. So I'm not using any third-party service like allauth.com or anything like that. I'm using Fastify JSON Web Token, and then I do the stuff manually. I went to LinkedIn, I created the application on LinkedIn, I got the application ID and some tokens, whatever. I did the same on GitHub, I did the same on Twitch, and then I used Fastify JSON Web Token library that handles with the redirects and all of that stuff, right? Because in simple words, the way that this authentication works, right, is quite simple, right? This is your front end, and then this is some third-party service, right, that you call. So this is my front end. When you click that button, my front end calls, let's say, Twitch. That's actually fucking horrible. Jesus Christ. Calls Twitch, right? And then Twitch, tries to authorize you, whatever. Twitch says, hey, everything's fine. But the Twitch itself, right, calls also your API, right? It validates some stuff, and then your API responds with some token, whatever, that we store then in the browser. And then any time we actually hit our API, you have the valid token. But basically, this interaction in this is very minimal. The magic is here because my API generates the JSON Web Token, etc. This is the only time when this actually happens is basically when you sign up, right? Or when you're logging in, right? But technology-wise, it's just this, right? And I didn't maybe even need this. This is like if some of you have used Express before, this is like Passport.js, right? Well, as long as I set it to last, right? So closest thing to what I just showed you would be Passport.js, and this has been the way to log in with Express for more than a decade. So you would come to Passport and you would say, I want to log in with LinkedIn, and then you would come here, you would read which one is more popular. Here you have OAuth2 protocol, and then this is how you would do it with Express, right? How long the token lasts is up to me. I can set it to last for a day or 3 years, right? That's now relative, right? And I'm just putting those placeholders all over the place. Then once we are done fully with those features, we're gonna figure out how we actually want those things to look like. Because right now, I don't have the time for that, right? I don't have the time to deal with UI too much, because that's the most complicated part, is figuring out, is making things look actually nice, right? That is the challenge, right? Technical stuff is easy. That is not even a matter of, that is not even important, writing code. It's GS, absolutely, man. We can also, I have promised many people to do some tutorials for YouTube and stuff for this, but I never did. It's just, I don't have the time, unfortunately, but 100%, man, give it a shot. And I'm streaming almost every day. So if you need any hand, of course, just ask, right? Just ask. Leo, man, thank you, dude. Thank you for being here, man. You've been here the whole stream for 2 hours. Thanks, buddy. You can have dynamic breadcrumb component you can use for all pages. Actually, that's a good point, actually. Should we do that now? This is Focus. Good evening, buddy. Actually, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%, man. Fuck, that's a very good point, dude. That's a very good point, dude. Nice, man. Congrats. Congrats. Let me just see, where do you usually keep the breadcrumbs, because I don't remember. So where would we keep them here, Smadi? I guess below the title, right? So if I take a screenshot of this, Jesus Christ, man, come on. So if I take a screenshot of this and we open up Draw.io, right? So we would basically put the breadcrumbs somewhere below the title, right? Below navbar, no. Interesting. Let's take another screenshot. So let's imagine that this is not here, right? So this crap is not here. So you're saying below navbar. Yeah, but that feels a bit disconnected, no? I mean, in our context, right? So let's imagine it says like meetups and then what, like, I don't know, JavaScript, Copenhagen, I don't know, about, right? Yeah, I was thinking the same, right? But this also looks like shit, so it's so hard. Like, where do we put it? I mean, I 100% think it's an amazing idea. Thank you, Smadi. I think now when I think about it, we definitely need. Yeah, for sure. Smadi has a point, of course, right? Because then we have to manually smack breadcrumbs in, which is also fine. I mean, I don't think that that's a big deal because obviously that gives you some other freedom to do certain other things, right? Which is like, so I'm not worried about, needing to use a component here and there. That's yeah, maybe slightly above the title, right? Something like this, right? I don't know. It felt super strange under the title, right? What do you think? Above production ready, bastard. Above is better, right? Here is better, right? Depends where Van den Nobel. On some microservices we built for this project, I'm using TypeScript. On the API, I'm not using the TypeScript because when I started the Fastify API project, Fastify didn't have almost any TypeScript support, right? So when I started the API project, TypeScript they just didn't have a good types finished yet. Now they do. Okay, so on top of it, right? Let's run the storybook. Let's run the storybook, and let's design this in our storybook, right? It's very hard to say, Obi, right? You guys know my philosophy towards TypeScript, right? Would I have used it? Probably not. Probably not. Not to go into the TypeScript story too much. I can maybe share some views with some new viewers here. The thing is, TypeScript is absolutely great. Or to say, okay, let me make a step back. So TypeScript is not great. Types in general or static typing is useful no matter the language. This is not a matter of opinion. This is just factual. It's better to have types than not to have them, right? I think this is fundamentally true. Now, is it good to have types when you're prototyping and when you're in the early stage of the product? That becomes more questionable. For example, as you can see, I'm building all of these features for Programmer Network live on the stream with very little context of what we're going to do. Now, if I had the types to deal with here as well, I would be not just updating the UI and fiddling with things. I would need to go and just keep updating all the types all the time. So that would slow me down in the context of prototyping, right? So it's not as simple as it seems. That's I guess what I'm trying to say. So TypeScript is great, but there are many decisions you have to make at certain stages of your product, and I just don't think that having TypeScript at a certain stage is useful because you fight against it rather than it's the tool that's supposed to help you, and if you feel that you're fighting it too much, then probably at that stage, at that time, it's something that's probably not useful, right? So the answer, would I have used TypeScript back then? I probably wouldn't have neither, right? But it's very imperative. It's very imperative to understand that, I've been writing TypeScript for more than a decade. Most of my libraries are written in TypeScript. So nobody by no means is neglecting its importance in certain areas. It's just there's time and place for all parts of your stack, right? What do you mean, Tiger? Like, what you mean as a developer? Like you, let's say you're like, is that what you mean? Like when you should start using it yourself, or what do you mean? I mean, there's no rule, right? If you don't know TypeScript, if you haven't really written a strictly typed language, you should use it from the very beginning, right? Again, we're talking different context here. I'm talking about the success of the product. Me building almost entirely alone the whole social platform infrastructure, backend, front end design. I have to pick my battles. I have to make compromises, right? Like one fundamental thing that every developer has to understand is that technical debt can also be used as a feature, right? Not always as a negative thing. And every product on the planet, no matter the size of the project, has tech debt, and you can use that thing in certain times to your advantage, right? So my advantage of tech debt is not using TypeScript because I can move faster alone, right? If I had 5 more people or 2 more people building this with me, then the story would be different, right? So you have to figure out what it is that makes you more productive at certain stages, right? It's very relative. Some people would say, no, Alex, for me, it's quite opposite. For me, TypeScript is like always makes me completely, right? If that's the case, then great, then go for it, right? Right? Then absolutely, right? Sir Wills, thank you very much, buddy. All right, let's because it's getting late. Let's also get here. I want to build a breadcrumbs in React. Let's use this guy for the first time today. Is it our second? George, thank you, George. Thank you very much. Oops. Tech debt is the fundamental piece of feature of every product, right? There's no product out there that doesn't have it. Now it all boils down to how you handle it, how you deal with it, right? So that is the most fundamental part, right? Okay, let's actually grab this fella, right? This actually looks exactly what I wanted to write, right? I'm using Copilot since day one almost, and I think good things about it. My take in general, right, on really anything, on any AI, is that you should use it if it's useful. It's good for everybody, 100%. Yes. Anything that makes you more productive is useful, right? It's universal, right? It's not a matter of opinion. It's again another factual thing. You should, if you're not already, you should be paying for ChatGPT 4. If you're not paying for Copilot, you should be paying for it, etc., etc. This is just universally true, because fundamentally it will make you more productive, and that's really all that there is, right? Do you want to be more productive? Yes. Well, you know the answer already, right? I'm paying for ChatGPT 4 since day one as well, in this stream as well. So once it became available, it's no brainer for me, right? It's just it's absolutely unquestionable. And the most important thing, right, to understand when it comes to AI is that, and this is probably very, very, very important, is that nobody cares about your values, right? I've heard arguments like, well, what is it called? What was the word that people often use? Ethical, exactly. Is it ethical? Who cares, man? Which world are you living in, right? Who cares if it's ethical, man? You know, I mean, we live in capitalism, right? Who cares if it's ethical? You're actually absolutely right. What ethical stuff are we talking about? The fundamental question is this: do you want to compete with others or not? If you want to compete with others, you have to use it. You have to adjust to the times today, and to that time, to the you know the that's just how it is today, right? Path names. Oh shit, we have to do, no, this is wrong. Yeah, it's just the stream, man. It's just the stream. It's hard. But it's the same, man, with any other Google stuff that you've been doing before. You always had to review stuff, right? You always had to review the code you copy paste from Stack Overflow or Google. So that fundamentally that doesn't change. ChatGPT is Google on steroids, right? So that's really I agree, yes. So I think that's fundamentally the only difference. I don't think there's like a difference in anything else, right? I mean, we always had no matter where you copy the code from ever in history, you're always going to have to review it, right? So absolutely. I think that is maybe also the problem also of no, I mean, but look, just to be clear, I think it's clear that we agree with each other. That's not the point. But those same people would have done the same thing by copy pasting from Stack Overflow. I don't think this has anything to do with the AI, right? That's my point. If somebody is blindly copy pasting code, they're gonna blindly copy paste code from anywhere. The AI here, right, is just the AI here is just the tool, right? So people who blindly copy paste code, they're gonna do that blindly anyway, right? So I don't think that matters if it's AI or, and this has been the case. I've been in this industry for 15 years, 16 years now. It's 16th year, believe it or not, and I used to do that, right? All of us have been guilty of sometimes copy pasting code without understanding it, right? I don't think there's a developer on the planet that hasn't done that, right? Maybe, right? Maybe, yeah. It's definitely harmful. I agree, right? But I think there's one. I think I think humankind. Okay, let's just focus on developers. I think there's one fundamental misunderstanding of life, and I'm not gonna go into some shitty philosophy, but I think it's very important. I think what people are the worst at, what all of us are really bad at, is understanding the circumstances in which we live when they change, right? So the thing is, let me put it this way, right? You have to just accept the fact that the modern developer is going to be a different developer than a developer 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. So you have to shift your perception completely. So you have to understand that the new developer today is going to be the developer that's going to copy paste code way more than a developer. This has been the issue every decade in this industry, and I believe every other industry. So you have to understand that instead of keeping your perception in the past and saying, well, relative to before when people had to sit and learn the code from a book and write more code, yes, and that's the new reality. And this new reality is not going to go away, and we're just going to have a different set of developers. They're going to think differently and they're going to solve problems differently. Think about it this way: 20 years ago or less, you had C developers and C++ and some of the low-level stuff. And then those high-level languages came. It was pretty much the same. Nobody almost in those high-level languages gave a crap about alloc and malloc and allocating memory, releasing it. Many of you actually probably haven't done that neither. Many of you maybe don't even know what a pointer is. And maybe many of you don't even know that there are pointers in JavaScript as well. That's beside the point, right? But the point is you have to shift your mentality to new reality, right? So new realities is the same with calculator. When calculator came out, the whole world opposed it. I don't know if you saw this image, right? Math teachers protest against calculators. Math teachers protest against calculator use, right? I mean, right? Because they were living in some different realities. Like, yeah, back in our time, we calculated everything on paper. The new generations are going to suck at math because they're not calculating billions by hand. But that didn't happen, right? Humanity moved forward, right? So, yes, it's going to be a different time of programming. And in 10 years, it's going to be another time. In 20 years, so this is a generational thing that happens every few years. This is nothing new, right? Exactly. Matty, sleep well, my friend. Sleep well. So it's just how it is, right? It's just how it is. Man, whoever suggested, who was it who suggested? Was it who suggested this? Smaddy. Thank you, Smaddy. I completely forgot about. I completely forgot about breadcrumbs. That was an amazing idea. No, thank you, dude. Genuinely, thank you. I not even in insanity I would have thought about it. It's like, thanks, man. Like, super super nice suggestion, dude. Okay, this one we'll have to handle differently. Right back at you, man. Right back at you. I mean, is this really necessary though? Okay, we can kind of. I don't actually know if it's necessary genuinely, but nah, that kind of sucks, right? We can all agree on that for sure. Okay, let's then just apply some general styles here. Let's just say man, thank you for coming around, dude. Seriously. Whenever you have time, man, I appreciate you very much. So just come around, let's hang out, man. I think I'm gonna round up in a minute as well. It's been 2.5 hours. I need to check up on my son. He's sleeping. I haven't checked him in the bed since I started, but he's old enough. Don't worry, he's 5. It's just we still can't get around the fact that he's no longer a baby. So all right, we'll see about styling that. But again, great idea, great idea. And I think maybe before we round up, let's just fix one thing though, right? So right now we're on the meetup view, right? Yeah, exactly. So we're right here, right? So I think one issue that we have right now is that so I think this fails, right? I think that this is what fails, right? So now if I click on the breadcrumbs and I don't have any selected tab, right? Yeah, shit. Van the Noble, so you feel me, man, right? I'm just always stressed that he's gonna fall off bed or something like that, right? So it's yeah, you know the drill, you know the drill. Shit. Oh, but that's not really what we want to do, is it, right? I don't think this is going to actually work at all, but let's just give it a shot. No. I actually do put the pillows. I do put the pillows, but I don't know. I'm always like, it's kind of awkward. So essentially now we're having a problem here is that there's something with the router, right? So if I actually try to go here like this, we're getting the article route, right? So yeah, that's kind of wrong, right? And why is that, right? Username tab. Give me 1 second. Events slug. Like, wait a minute. Give me a second. Meetups. Ah, okay. Never mind. Sorry. So it's this one, right? Okay, great. Okay, I see. So that's what we missed, right? Okay. Okay, good, right? So now if I click here, yeah. Beautiful. Okay. I actually don't like the breadcrumbs to be. And now we could kind of keep those breadcrumbs global, but then that would kind of suck, right? So let's not do that. But we could kind of keep them, but I will actually keep them localized. So I think it's actually fine, right? And then we actually don't need this, right? I don't think this actually does anything anymore, right? Exactly, right? Yeah, exactly. Okay, so that's actually fine. So where's the breadcrumbs? Where's this crap that we just did? So I'm just gonna get rid of this thing for now and leave it as it is. Give me 1 second. Maybe yeah, okay. All right, so let's get over here. Jesus Christ, man, come on. So it's this fellow over here. Yeah. Yeah. So we're gonna do that just to kind of remove that gap a bit, right? And then I presume, right, instead of messing, well, yeah, okay, never mind. Let's just do this. Right? Actually, let's do it like this. Right? And then let's make this nav, right? This maybe better suits if we use the HTML5 tags, right? And then over here, shit. Maybe something like that. What is this crap, man? What? That's super strange. Okay. Ooh. Yeah, I don't really like it much. No. All right, we're not gonna waste too much time with that. We'll just maybe leave it as it is. Now that's pretty horrible, actually. Yeah, shit. I mean, I think it kind of sucks equally, right? Almost. So let's just leave it, right? I think again, those are the hard things, right? It's the layout and stuff, right? We'll figure it out. Like those, as we have been building stuff and those things that are in production, a lot of them are there until we basically see, if they work, if they look good. So this sort of stuff you can't do on the spot. That's why creative work is difficult, because it comes at creative times, right? And obviously I've been answering questions for 3 hours and jumping back and forth, so I'm not worried. Like, we are focusing on getting functionality there. None of this is going to look like this, most likely. A lot of it is now still here until we know. So this is the way to fight procrastination and actually being functional and productive. It's do the best you can at a given time. Otherwise, you're not going to do anything. You're just going to be fiddling with something and wasting time. So I don't know what to do about it now, so let's leave it. It's good enough. It's actually great. It's better than it was 5 minutes ago. Why? Well, we didn't even have it 5 minutes ago, so it's clearly better than it was. Let's mark that as done. Yeah, so this is going to be part of the notification system, and also this microservice we built, the task scheduler that we wrote a couple of streams ago that uses bullmq. So we're not going to do that today. Yeah, let's actually see. Should we round up maybe for today? How long I've been streaming? For almost 3 hours. Yeah, maybe we should do that. Yeah, I want to go and watch something. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do that, fellas. Let's round up. Tomorrow I also have to go to that to Stockholm. I need to go to that conference with my team, so I'm gonna probably lay down for 40 minutes, watch something, then shower and stuff, and head to bed. You guys are gonna hear maybe from the train from me tomorrow. I might tune in with my iPhone and my kind of movable kit. So I'll try to inform you just share some insights from you from Stockholm conference. For those of you who don't know, I'll be in Stockholm with my team next 3 days. There's a conference. There's a Stockholm. There's a Google Cloud Summit. So I'll be in Stockholm next 3 days, and you guys, again, if you're not part of my Discord, our Discord, and if you don't care, don't join, obviously. But if you do care, I'll be probably tuning in from this conference on after tomorrow. I'm probably gonna stream from it a bit, and the next stream, because I'm gonna be away for next 3 days. Next stream like this is gonna be on Friday, just FYI. Because again, tomorrow we are leaving to Stockholm by train. Then we're gonna sleep over. Then the conference is after tomorrow, and then we're gonna have Google dinner. Google is organizing a dinner, so we're gonna have some sort of a Google dinner on Wednesday evening, and then I think on Thursday morning sometimes we're gonna head back by train from Stockholm to Copenhagen. So I'll talk to you guys from there. I'm gonna send you some pictures, some videos on Discord channel, and yeah, until then. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed the stream. It was super nice. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for the subs and the support. It always means to see that the stream is useful. So I do not want to learn hacking, no. Thank you, everybody. Sleep well. Be well. I wish you best. And I'll catch you guys up the next time. Peace out, guys. Thank you very much. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Cheers. Bye-bye.